Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
Recording in progress.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming out in the rain. Thank you for those who are participating with us on Zoom tonight. Today is Tuesday, May 31st, 2022. The time now is 6 p.m. and I'll call to order this regular meeting of the Town of Mead Board of Trustees. In accordance with the town's disaster declaration dated March 21, 2020, related to the COVID-19 virus and the town's emergency electronic participation policy for regular and special meetings, this meeting will be held virtually in Zoom. Virtual access information, including the Zoom meeting link, has been provided on the town's website and at designated posting places. I'd like to remind everyone present, both in person and virtually, of the town's general guidelines for public comment at open meetings. Copies of the guidelines are available in the back of this room and are available online. There are 2 public comment opportunities on the agenda tonight. You may address the board on any subject, whether it's on the agenda or not. If you wish to comment on the Meadow Ridge preliminary plat, you will take your comments during the public hearing portion of the meeting. Mary, roll call, please.
Mayor Whitlow. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Adams.
Here.
Trustee Babcock. Here. Trustee Broadhead.
Here.
Trustee Cartwright.
Here.
Trustee Harris. Here. Trustee Schranz.
Here.
Mayor Whitlow, today is Tuesday, May 31st, 2022, and you do have a quorum.
Thank you very much. In honor of Memorial Day, please join me in a moment of silence for those who lost their life or loved ones in the service of our country. And let us also remember those affected by the deadly shootings in Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. And I thank you for your time, and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The next is a review and approved agenda. Are there any changes to tonight's agenda? Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move to approve the agenda as is. Second.
Okay, roll call, please, Mary.
Trustee Schranz.
Yes.
Trustee Broadhead.
Yes.
Trustee Babcock.
Yes.
Trustee Harris.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams.
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright.
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you, motion carries. Next on our agenda is our staff report by our town manager. And have the floor.
Thank you, Mayor, trustees. You do have my report, and I have a couple of updates that I'd like to offer for your consideration. First of all, we did get all the flowers planted downtown, so that's all, and the rain is helping us, so we won't have to worry about watering them tomorrow, so that's good news. Also, we formed a partnership with Berthoud, and we were able to complete the dust control on County Road 7 all the way to Berthoud. So that's really nice, because in the past, as you know, you'll get part of it done, and so we got together and got that done. We spent the last 2 weeks doing dust control. Unfortunately, it took most of our resources, and we didn't do as much mowing as we should have. So if any of you have noticed, a lot of the roadside ditches, but we're on it, and we're gonna try to make up for lost time. And of course, with the rain, we're kind of chasing it as it grows. But I just wanted you to know we're on that. Another thing, don't forget, tomorrow County Road 28 is closed. It's closed from tomorrow until the 12th, knock on wood. We really work on those people to get their closures done and the road paved. That's in association with Lakeside Canyon. And then finally, the bathrooms have been closed out at the ponds. We have an issue, there's an environmental issue that we're working on, and we've been working with our engineering consultant, trying to come up with a solution. I know Eric has been working with them, and we've been discussing whether to repair or completely replace them, like what we have out at Highland Lake. It looks like we've happened upon a repair that we can do for about $21,000. That'll give us at least 5 years of life to those bathrooms. We will be coming to the board with, that particular item if it's under whatever my spending limit is, $20,000. So we'll be bringing that back. Just so you know, we also are gonna look at that same style of bathroom at Liberty Ranch and be asking for it in the 2023 budget. Over the years, we've had a lot of people ask for bathrooms out there. So we've been batting it around, should we put them in there, or should we come to the board and ask for the money to replace them? But I know it's a long, boring story, but the whole purpose of my rant is that's why the bathrooms are closed. If it looks like we can do this repair expeditiously, then we'll just leave the bathrooms closed. But if it's gonna take a month, we'll put portalettes out there and just put a sign on it. But that's what's going on. It isn't just that we want them to be closed, so we are working on it. And with that, that's all my updates. And then I have the rest of my report if you have any questions or comments.
Questions or comments for home? Deb, do you have any questions or comments for Helen tonight?
No.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Helen, for your report and the updates. Okay, next is our informational item tonight. It is our Mead Police Department accreditation. And before you get up here, thank you very much, Chief, for the work you've done on this. So. And I'll say before he gets up, there's a cake today. Just let you know.
Good grief.
It's Monday. It's cake. No, it's Tuesday.
Can we get a
It's
video?
Tuesday. It's Tuesday cake. All right, Chief, you have the floor. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, trustees. It's my pleasure to be here this evening and to let you know that the Mead Police Department has received accreditation through the Colorado Chiefs of Police Association. This project began in January of 2021 and came to fruition in April of this year. And we're just now announcing it because we were waiting on the plaque and kind of everything to fall into place and to have a board meeting. And so the stars finally aligned, and here we are this evening. The CACP accreditation program began back in 1984. The concept is designed to scrutinize the department's policies and procedures to ensure that best practices are being used in all areas of operations. This includes officer response to calls, training, records maintenance, and release, and maybe the most important part, evidence storage and security. So all of those things were looked at and were reviewed, and there was an on-site evaluation to make sure that we were complying with best practices in all of those areas. And as I said, this process took about 16 months. Part of that process was putting together proofs for the 214 standards, which culminated in compiling a document that was 1,655 pages in length. This isn't necessarily an exercise in accumulation of a mountain of paper, though. It's really about a commitment to excellence that will continue as we constantly review policies, practices, training, and facilities to ensure that the best practices are being utilized in all areas at all times. Members of the CACP that participated in this accreditation process were Chief Derek Boz of the Brush Police Department, Assessors Deputy Chief Jeff Fisher, and Administrative Services Manager Jen Kenny, both from Louisville Police Department, and we'd like to thank them for taking their time to assist us in this endeavor. Thank you for the time to present this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, big round of applause for this. Make sure that we get pictures with you and the cake and Sergeant Hillis over there. All right, thank you, Chief, for everything.
Thank you.
This is really cool. It's not every day we get a Mead Chief Police accreditation. That's so awesome. All right, next is our proclamations for this evening. Our first one is, the Alzheimer's and Brain Awareness Month of June 2022, and I've asked Mayor Pro Tem Adams to read the proclamation tonight.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, proclamation declaring June 2022 Alzheimer and Brain Awareness Month. Whereas Alzheimer's disease is a degenerative brain disease which is the most common form of dementia, and whereas dementia is a general term that describes a group of symptoms associated with memory loss and a loss of other cognitive abilities serious enough to interfere with daily life. And whereas currently over 6 million people in the United States are living with Alzheimer's and other dementia, and whereas Alzheimer's is the leading cause of death in seniors and exacts a heartbreaking human toll on our nation, as well as deep economic toll with the cost of treatment exceeding $300 billion in 2020 alone. Whereas there is no cure for this disease, but there are treatments that help reduce symptoms and improve quality of life. And whereas critical research is underway to accelerate the global progress of a new treatment, preventions, and ultimately a cure. Now therefore, Colleen Whitlow, Mayor of the Town of Mead, Weld County, Colorado, do hereby proclaim June 2022 as Alzheimer and Brain Awareness Month and encourage all citizens of the Town of Mead to stay informed about the disease and advocate for those with Alzheimer's and their families. Given under my hand and seal, the Town of Mead, Colorado, on this day, the 31st of May, 2022.
Thank you very much for reading the proclamation. Is there a motion to approve the signing of this proclamation?
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Mary.
Trustee Babcock,
Yes.
trustee Shranz,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams,
Yes.
trustee Harris,
Yes.
trustee Broadhead,
Yes.
trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you, motion carries. We'll move on to our second proclamation of the evening. It's Bike Month June 2022. Today would be a perfect example of putting on a rain coat and getting out there. Trustee Babcock, will you please read the proclamation?
Yes. Proclamation declaring June 2022 National Bike Month and June 22nd, 2022 as Bike to Work Day. Whereas June has been designated as Bike Month, sponsored by the Department of Transportation and celebrated in communities from coast to coast. And whereas Bike to Work Day has had a steady rise in participants since 1995 and is a chance to showcase the many benefits of bicycling and encourage more people to give bicycling a try as an alternate form of transportation. And whereas riding a bike is a viable and environmentally sound form of transportation and an excellent form of recreation. And whereas creating bicycle-friendly communities has been shown to improve citizens' health, well-being, and quality of life, to boost community spirit, to improve traffic safety, and to reduce pollution and congestion. Now, therefore, Colleen Whitlow, Mayor of the Town of Mead, Weld County, Colorado, do hereby proclaim June 2022 as National Bike Month and June 22nd, 2022 as Bike to Work Day, and encourage all citizens of the Town of Mead to recognize the importance of encouraging and supporting the use of bicycles within our community. Given under her hand and seal of the Town of Mead, Colorado, on this 31st day of May 2022.
Thanks, Brooke, very much. Is there a motion to approve the signing of this proclamation?
I will motion to approve the signing of the proclamation.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call, please, Mary.
Trustee Shranz,
Yes.
trustee Harris,
Yes.
trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
trustee Broadhead,
Yes.
trustee Babcock,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams,
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you very much. Motion carries. We move on to our first public comment of the evening. The board welcomes public comment for any item, whether it's on the agenda or not. The board will listen to your comments and take them into consideration. If you desire a conversation, please email the board or town manager or attend the monthly coffee with the mayor. If you are with us virtually, please indicate by raising your hand to speak. When you are recognized, please state your name and address for the record. Again, if you wish to speak during this public comment, please adhere to the town's general guidelines. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board. If you are representing a group, you will have 5 minutes. Is there anyone in the room today that would like to speak to the board? Is there anybody with us virtually? Please raise your hand and we will call on you to discuss anything you want to with the board. Okay, thank you very much. We'll move on to our consent agenda. The consent agenda contains items which are considered routine and enacted in one motion and vote. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as is. Second.
Is there any discussion? Okay, roll call please, Mary.
Trustee Broadhead,
Yes.
trustee Cartwright,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams,
Yes.
trustee Harris,
Yes.
trustee Babcock,
Yes.
trustee Schranz,
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow.
Yes. Thank you, motion carries. We'll go on to our public hearing of the evening. It's about Meadow Ridge preliminary plat. This is a public hearing on the Meadow Ridge preliminary plat. First, we will hear from staff, then the applicant may address the board. After the presentations, the public will be allowed to comment, then we will hear from the trustees. The time now is 6:15, and I will open the public hearing, and our planner, Colin Maris, will address the board first. Thank you, sir. You have the podium.
Thank you, Mayor. Can we get the clicker in? Alright. So Mayor, trustees, tonight for consideration, I'm bringing forward a preliminary plat application for the property known as Meadow Ridge. Before I begin, I would like to mention that Jennifer Becky, our senior planning consultant, has been taking the lead on the review for this project, and she's been an enormous help, as she always is. So the applicant for the Meadow Ridge project is Meadow Ridge Development Incorporated, and they're applying on behalf of the property owner CMR Holding Company, LLC. The Meadow Ridge development is just under approximately 300 acres in size, and is generally located east of Wealth County Road 9.5 and north of State Highway 66. To the north and east of the property, there are currently agricultural land uses, with oil and gas development specifically to the north. To the south, there are also currently agricultural land uses, along with the future expansion of the Barefoot Lakes development, which is within the town of Firestone, directly to the southeast. And then to the west, there are currently light industrial land uses within the Seekage Business Park. So as you can see on the screen, there's a vicinity map of the area around the development. Directly to the northeast of the Meadow Ridge site is the Red Barn subdivision, which is currently under construction. To the east along State Highway 66 and County Road 13 is the Grandview subdivision. To the southeast is the aforementioned future expansion of the Barefoot Lakes subdivision. And then to the far south along County Road 28 is the future Grand Meadow subdivision, which is currently under review with town staff. And then to the far southwest is the Ritchie Brothers property, and then to the west is the aforementioned Seekage Business Park. So the preliminary plat application proposes 670 total single-family lots. These lots range in size from 5,300 square feet up to 14,000 square feet. The plat also includes 3 large commercial lots that will total almost 26 acres in size. So these commercial lots will be subdivided and developed in a future phase. The plat includes 2 neighborhood parks and 1 pocket park within the development, along with a system of trails and open space that will interconnect the development. So in total, the plat includes just over 63 acres of land dedicated for open space and parks, which exceeds the 20% open space requirement for single-family residential PUDs. So along with parks and open space, the plat also proposes the siting of an approximately 12-acre elementary school site within the eastern portion of the site. Roadway improvements for the plat include the construction of all interior collector and local roads that will service the subdivision per town standards, as well as additional lane construction on County Road 9.5 along the western property line and State Highway 66 on the southern property line. Yeah, thank you. Perfect. So here's an overview map of the preliminary plat for your reference. The proposed parks are shown in green, with the proposed school site in blue. So as you can see on the far western portion of the site is one of the neighborhood parks that will total 7.5 acres in size. And then a second larger neighborhood park is located in the south central portion of the property, and that will total approximately 10.5 acres in size. And then the pocket park that I mentioned is located along the eastern property line in the northern portion of the property, and that'll be 7.5 acres in size as well. And then the 12-acre elementary school site is located on the eastern portion of the development along Colonel Woods Drive, which will serve as a collector for the development. So the development of the Meadow Ridge site will be broken down into 7 phases. The first 4 of these phases will be residential, with the remaining 3 phases being commercial. Phase 1, shown in the map in green, will consist of 203 lots, and is predominantly in the north and northwestern portions of the property. The second phase, shown in blue, is approximately 158 lots, and will be predominantly located in the south and southwest portions of the property. Phase 3, shown in yellow, will consist of 133 lots, and be located in the northeast portion of the property. And then the final phase of residential development, shown in red, will consist of 176 lots, and is located in the east and southeast portions of the property. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the remaining 3 phases, shown in white, will be commercial development, and those will be located along County Road 9.5, as well as the northeast corner of 9.5 and State Highway 66. And then I would also like to mention that these phases are preliminary in nature, and could be subject to change in future filings of the final plats. So the preliminary plat proposal complies with the density and dimensional standards outlined in the approved 2019 PUD overlay for the property. The overall residential density of the property is approximately 3.5 dwelling units per acre, which is under the allowed maximum of 4 dwelling units per acre. And the lot size range of 5,300 square feet up to 14,000 square feet meet the minimum lot size requirements detailed in the PUD. The development will also meet the setback requirements that are included in that PUD overlay document. The plat is consistent with the comprehensive plan land use designations as well. The property provides a mix of commercial as well as residential uses, with those commercial lots along the major town arterials on the western and southern perimeter of the site, and single-family residential housing on the remainder of the site. The plat is also consistent with the comprehensive plan regarding the placement of a school site within the development. So as you can see in the map on the left, the preliminary plat complies with the general commercial and residential single-family zoning designation that was assigned to the property when it was annexed in late 2019. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the plat proposes those commercial lots along 9.5 frontage and at the corner 9.5 and 66, with the rest of the site consisting of that single-family residential development. And then in the map on the right, the property complies with the comprehensive plan future land use map as well. A mixture of residential and commercial development is proposed, along with the siting of the elementary school. The triangle on that map, it's a little hard to see, denotes the relative location of a future elementary school. And so the applicant has been working directly with the school district in determining the best location for that school within the Meadow Ridge development. So the preliminary plat will further the list of goals and policies of the comp plan. Just to highlight a few of these, the development will add diversity to the town's housing stock and housing options, with options for a range of single-family detached housing product, as well as the potential for multifamily mixed use within the commercial property, which is currently in limited supply in the town of Mead. The proposed development will benefit the town's economic base by providing new residents and potential customers for Mead's businesses, And then that commercial corridor along 9.5 and 66 will provide additional opportunities that will add to the town's economic base. And then as aforementioned, the preliminary plat proposes to dedicate 63 acres of land for parks and open space, which exceeds the 20% open space dedication requirement. The plat provides 2 neighborhood parks, a pocket park, and a well-designed trail and sidewalk network that interconnects development and provides recreation access for all the residents. The proposed utility and transportation systems have been reviewed by town staff and external agencies and have been found to serve the proposed development. The proposal complies with the town's adopted transportation plan and the town's engineering standards regarding transportation, drainage, and utility system design. This infrastructure will be constructed at the time of development in order to provide adequate facilities to accommodate the new residents. Negative impacts on adjacent land uses have been identified and accounted for. One of the main negative impacts of the development will be the increasing number of vehicle trips on the town's roadway network. So the developer will construct the necessary improvements to County Road 9.5 and State Highway 66 to mitigate the effects that this additional traffic will have. Impacts relating to the broader road network within the town will be mitigated through the collection of impact fees when building permits are pulled for the homes within the development. The Meadow Ridge development will help address the growing demand for housing in the Front Range region, as well as increasing the town's housing stock. This will provide for a greater variety of single-family detached products and a potential for multifamily housing in later phases. So the proposed development will benefit the town's economic base by providing new residents and potential customers for Mead's businesses, as well as providing commercial opportunities along those 2 arterials within the town. So the Meadow Ridge development will create infrastructure that will expand and improve upon the existing infrastructure in Mead. The town will also collect impact fees and taxes from the new homes. The estimated impact fees and taxes the estimated impact fees for the development are just over $9 million. So these collected fees are used to fund capital construction projects, including roads, drainage, parks, trails, and open space, which will expand upon and improve the quality of life for the residents within the town. And then when the building permits are pulled, they will be subject to use taxes as well. So after reviewing the application, the town's development review committee finds the preliminary plat to be in compliance with the land use code and the comprehensive plan. Additionally, the planning commission has recommended conditional approval at their April 20th planning commission public hearing. So therefore, staff recommends that the board of trustees approve the proposed preliminary plat, subject to standard conditions of approval, via the suggested motion in your packet. And I'm available for any questions you may have, and I know the applicant has a presentation as well that they'd like to share.
We'll hold on for any questions or comments until after the applicant has given their presentation.
Perfect.
Thank you, Colin.
Good evening.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, sorry for my little impromptu entrance.
That's okay. No worries.
So good evening, Mayor, Moyer, Pro Tem, and trustees. My name is Jennifer Carpenter. I'm a principal with LAI Design Group. Colin mentioned Jennifer, but I just want to reiterate, we've been working with Jennifer, Colin. Prior, we were working with Chris Kennedy and now Jason. So we're at the final push here. So what I've done here is added, Colin did a great job with a lot of technical stuff. We've added some imagery, and I've also brought up some slides that were created from questions at the planning commission.
So, literally enough work
Okay.
for this one, but I will
Okay.
move the slides
Okay.
just as soon as I
This just reiterates the site location. We're just under 300 acres. Colin mentioned that we were approved. Sorry, it's gonna be weird. We were approved in 2019 with the annexation and the PUD and the zoning. So this is just kind of our actual Mylar is approved. The next image shows that PUD set up the framework for where we are today, and we're actually quite close to where we had predicted as far as road circulation and the residential and the general commercial. The preliminary plat, I said approved, but conditionally approved. I have taken a quicker look at all the codes, and working with staff, we have hit every code, and so that's great, no major waivers or variances. This is an illustrative of our site plan that shows you the 3 different breakdowns of our lot sizes and how they fit into the overall site. Our PUD actually gives us more flexibility with the number of lots, but when we actually got down to the preliminary plat with all of our engineering, we actually had a lower density per acreage, increasing our open space. So while we're allowed over 700 units, we are at 670. Here's a reiteration, I don't know who's gonna have this, but here's our phasing breakdown. One thing that has come full circle on this is actually blue was originally phase 1, but we had looked at better ways to improve our circulation, our utility connections. So we will be starting up on the north side of the property. One question that was brought up the last time was what was the actual lot sizes. So we have 50s, 60s, and 65s. So what that is that that's the actual width of the lot. And then with the building setbacks, you create your building envelope. And then our minimum is 110 feet deep, and a lot of those are 120 feet deep. That's how it gives us the larger lot sizes than what's permitted per code and for the PUD. There was discussion of the school, so we've been working very closely with St. Vrain. This is just a very schematic test fit of what they see happening on the site. We were asked when this is going to be built. We don't know. They don't know. So that's something that can be further looked at. So taking an invert almost of the site, if we take away the lots, you can see the quantity of open space, be it if it's detention ponds, which we do not count completely in our open space. We can only count 50%. The rest of the green is actual open space trails and parks. This is just kind of a breakdown of how we started at the PUD, getting our numbers, our acreages. It also mentions the ownership and the maintenance, how it would be maintained by the district that we've created for the property, and also some imagery of how we see the open space looking. Some more iterations of the photographs, xeric plants, natural plants, seasonal plantings, and then just we're about 38% over the required open space. Here's a close-up of some of the 3 parks that we have, 2 neighborhood and 1 pocket, going with elements that are kind of natural to the environment, at least in appearance, if not actual construction material. So I think those are going to be a lot of fun things, and those will go in as each of the phases finishes, and the roadways and the trails are connecting, those spaces will be built. One question was brought up is, at the last hearing, was do we connect any of the regional trails? And unfortunately, there are no regional trails in this region, so this kind of shows you guys a map. The lines that you see the most of are actually the drainage ways. And then there's 2 lakes that have loops around them. And then in my research, I found out that Mead Pond is the only park that actually lists trails as an amenity. So I just wanted you guys to know that we kind of have looked at it, and maybe over time, we can kind of make some connections in the future. So this is the trails map that we had at our last hearing. This is just our trails, and if you go to the next slide, this takes into our trails with the sidewalks and the right-of-ways, and you can see how the connections throughout the whole site. You can go east, west, north, south. You'll be able to get through quite easily. One thing with we're finishing up here hopefully tonight with the prelim plat. We're starting our final plat, and our traffic and civil engineers have coordinated with staff and all referral agencies on coordination of all utilities and access. One question that was brought up was in regards to St. Vrain as far as sewer and sewer extension. We're going to be extending the sewer from the northeast corner, which is where Red Barn is. Another question that came up is, this is the 3 different types of road cross-sections that we have on the property or directly off-site. We are asked about the actual access points or entrances. Those are highlighted by stars with the yellow. The 2 at the north would be future, when that development is, I guess, processed and approved. So we do have access points all around. We do have oil and gas on the site. We have followed all the codes and regulations to make sure that health, safety, and welfare are completely intact, as far as, right-of-ways, lots, parks, and all of that. Finally, some graphics just to represent the kind of fencing that we've been looking at, as well as perimeter. And what we're working on right now with the final plat for phase 1, here are some of the amenities that we're looking at adding on the property. We have a pavilion, and then benches, trash, bike racks. And then finally, the last slide here is, we have been working with United Power for the lighting package for the streetscape. And I believe that's it. So if there's any questions.
Thank you. Thank you. We're gonna ask the public for questions, and then we'll ask the trustees. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak during this public hearing in the room? Okay, how about with us virtually? Is there anybody that would like to speak during this public hearing? Do you have any questions or comments for either the applicant or our staff? Just raise your hand. All right, we'll go to the trustees. Anybody have any questions or comments? Patricia?
We'll start with yours.
Okay, good.
So on 66, those 2 access points on 66, are they putting in lights there? Is there going to be some kind of, I just envision people making left-hand turns, and 66, the traffic is so bad. Are you doing like things where they can only make a right turn in and a right turn out? Or is there gonna be a new light at 9.5 and 66, or any lights included?
Sure, great questions. Both of our proposed access points on Highway 66 are consistent with CDOT's access code. The one that's furthest to the east is a full movement intersection that will align with the Barefoot Lakes access to the south and Firestone. That is planned to be signalized and is allowed to be a traffic signal by CDOT once warrants are met. So it'll probably be a while, but at some point there will be a traffic signal at that intersection. Whether our project in Mead or the one to the south in Firestone is the trigger remains to be seen. Then further west, between there and 9.5, is a future right-in, right-out access that's kind of on the edge between the commercial and the residential. That access most likely won't go in until the commercial develops. Okay. And then the access 9.5 intersection with 66 is already signalized, but there will be improvements there over time by phase.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right.
And I forgot to mention my name. I'm Chris McGranahan with LSC Transportation Consultants. I should have known that. I've done this before. We're 1889 York Street in Denver, Colorado. Thank you.
My next question has to do with fencing. So, I do dog rescue, and something that comes up a lot in these newer neighborhoods are the short fences that are not allowed to be modified in any way, and you can only have a Yorkie-sized dog in those yards without them getting over the fences. And it's kind of infuriating. I mean, if you want a normal-sized dog, a lot of those short fences are 3.5 feet tall, and you can't do anything to make it so your dog can't get out of that yard in any way, shape, or form. And so it's something that's on my mind when these new developments are coming in. Like, I know you kind of had a quick little picture of what you're thinking, but can you go into that a little more?
So Jennifer with LAI Design Group, and I completely agree because I saw all of these. So right now we have submitted phase 1 of the final plat, and in that we have design guidelines. Right now that split rail fence that you see is only on lots that face an actual open space, and then you are allowed to put the chicken wire. That's definitely something that we can put a clause, because it's actually just in the design guidelines, and I'd have to double check what's actually in the design codes with Colin. And then the rest of your fencing is your regular 5-foot privacy fence. And then the perimeter fence would be the 5-foot privacy fence with, columns for more decorative, around the property. So if you're on an open space or landscape track, you would have that split rail fence, and I believe ours is a little bit taller than normal. We either have a 3 or a 4 rail versus sometimes where you just have like a 2 rail or like what they call something like butt fence or something. So, but you would be allowed to put chicken wire.
Okay.
And I think it's just because some of those lots, because you're facing that open space, we've heard from builders and stuff, they wanna make those more of a premium, so you're actually able to look at the open space and kind of feel like your yard is larger. So that's definitely something we can take note of and work with staff if that would be allowed, or whomever the final builder is, we can.
Okay. Yeah, I see the point with open space, being people want more of a view, and I get that, but a lot of times those fences also back to things like parks, where there's lots of people there and kids there, and lots of times dogs are more prone to jump those fences, when they're shorter, because there's people there, they wanna go see them or whatever it is. And so, I don't know, I would just really like to see, subdivisions think about dogs.
Yeah,
I mean, I get the view, but it's so hard when people have to return a dog to us because there's absolutely nothing they can do to prevent their dog from jumping the fence because the HOA will not allow it and their fence is so short, and it's just frustrating.
Yeah, so that's definitely something I can make note of and work with staff to see if it's code, as far as the fencing code.
And definitely three, like you said, 3 or 4. I mean, you can still make it attractive and visually see-through, but make it tall enough that people can have a real dog. For crying out loud. So.
Noted.
That was it for me.
Thanks, David. David, and then Howard.
I just had 2 quick ones, just an idea of a projected completion date you guys have. You guys have an idea when you might have this whole subdivision completed, any projection on that? Too far in the crystal ball.
He's looking at his watch.
Yeah.
Come on.
Jeff Keeley with Meadow Ridge Development Inc., 1288 South Clayton Street, Denver, Colorado, 80210. We would hope to have it done tomorrow, but I'm thinking probably about 12 to 15 months we'll start construction, and then that's all depending on how our final plat goes, and then another 12 months to deliver homes. So kind of there.
And then the other question I had is, I know there's negotiations possibly with the school site, but until the school actually goes forward and builds, what is gonna happen with that particular piece of land that's gonna be sitting there?
Yeah, so that's in our second filing that we will be submitting at a later date. So right now, it would just be open space and farmland like it is currently.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Harvey?
I have a question. I'm assuming that, is this a metro district? It is. It is or it's not?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we do have metro districts
Okay.
approved.
Do you plan to do any other amenities other than the parks for the people in the district?
Right now, we just have the parks planned. What other amenities? We're not.
Some metro districts put in rec center, pools, things of that nature.
Right now, we don't have any of those planned, but we could look into that.
Well, it's not important to me, I'm just looking at it for the people who are gonna live there.
Yeah. Yeah. Right now, we just have the parks planned for the code.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. And Chris? Anything? Deb? Hey, Deb Broadhead, Trustee Broadhead, do you have any questions or comments during the?
No, I don't.
Okay, all right, thank you very much for being here tonight. I wanna say something to Jennifer Becky, because many years ago, we sat in this room with Jennifer and East Side Neighborhood talks and the meetings, and so this is a long, long time coming, so thank you all for, Jennifer, for your work on this, Colin and Jason, thank you very much. The late Chris Kennedy, who's not here anymore, thank him. And thank you for all of your work to go forward, because this is a big deal on that corner. So we're hoping that the commercial part of it brings us some goodness to it.
And I would just like to thank staff as well. They've been a great help, Colin and Jennifer. Jason coming in, so thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, thanks everyone.
Mayor, I'd just like to acknowledge the developers for their willingness to work with the school district. This is an important addition to the whole subdivision and the region. So, yes, I think that they really do deserve some credit here on that.
Great, thank you, Jennifer. Thanks for bringing that up, and thanks for the working with the school district too, and all the other districts too, because it's not easy working with all of the water and fire and sewer and all that other stuff. So thank you very much. All right, is there a motion regarding resolution number 43-R-2022?
I will move to approve resolution number 43-R-2022. Resolution conditionally approving the Meadow Ridge subdivision sketch plan preliminary plat based on findings that the preliminary plat review criteria as set forth in section 16-460 of the Mead Municipal Code have been satisfied as detailed in the agenda item summary report prepared for the May 31st, 2022 Board of Trustees.
Second?
Thank you very much. Is there any more discussion?
There was more. To the bottom of that resolution, it's on page next page.
Keep
Oh,
going.
sorry.
Keep going.
Board of Trustees meeting, and based on other evidence presented to the board at the May 31st, 2022 public hearing.
Do you still have the same second?
Now I'll second.
All right. Is there any further discussion? Thank you for turning the page, and Mary, roll call, please.
Trustee Cartwright?
Yes.
Trustee Trans?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams?
Yes.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
Trustee Broadhead?
Yes.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow?
Yes. Thank you very much. The motion carries. The time now is 6:46, and I'm going to close the public hearing for the night. Thank you once again for choosing Mead. Thank you very much for being here tonight in this beautiful rainy night. Thank you staff for working on this too. Next will be our committee appointments, and there's nothing like another volunteer for this town. So we appreciate everyone that volunteers, and we have one in the room with us, Karen Peterson from the Planning Commission. And we do tonight have an alternate. His name is Gerald Abashir. Hopefully I pronounced that right. And this will be introduced by our Community Development Director, Jason Radford. Sir, you have the podium.
Thank you. Good evening, Board of Trustees and Mayor. Yes, it's my pleasure to recommend to you the appointment of Gerald Abashir to the alternate position for Planning Commission. As you all know, in March of this year, our previous alternate member, Jared Adams, moved out of state, and so we had a vacancy in our Planning Commission for that alternate member seat. And thankfully, Mr. Abashir sent in an application for that position. Staff has spoken with him on a few occasions, and he's attended the two minimum required Planning Commission meetings. He seems like he is very eager to play a part in the community, and has asked very intelligent questions and seems very interested in contributing his time and effort towards the betterment of the community. So I'm happy to stand here before you this evening to recommend his appointment to the Planning Commission, and happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions? Comments? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
After everybody says yes, tell him thank you on behalf of the Board of Trustees for his time.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Is there a motion to appoint Mr. Abashir to the Planning Commission as an alternate?
I move to recommend that the Board of Trustees appoint Gerald Abashir as an alternate member of the Planning Commission.
Second.
Roll call please, Mary.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams?
Yes.
Trustee Harris?
Yes.
Trustee Broadhead?
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright?
Yes.
Trustee Trans?
Yes.
Trustee Babcock?
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow?
Yes. Thank you. Motion carries. Please tell him thank you.
Thank you, Board.
Next is our second public comment period of the night. And I will open this time for those who want to speak to the Board of Trustees. Again, please adhere to the guidelines, and you have 3 minutes if you'd like to speak on behalf of yourself. If you're representing a group, you have 5. So is there anyone online that would like to speak to the Board of Trustees during this second period, this public comment period? Okay, thank you very much. Next, we'll move on to elected official reports. Any town trustees would like to bring up anything? We have a list.
Thank you. I have a couple of things. This one would more be for Erica. The concrete pathway behind Featherridge, between Featherridge and Coyote Run, that the Highlands, they did the French drain and all that good stuff, and because it was kind of winter months, they temporarily patched in that concrete. Is that ever going to be fixed?
Yes.
Good answer. I just don't want it to be forgotten about since it's kind of hidden and, but it's fairly unpleasant on bikes and rollerblades and skateboards and such.
Yes, I will follow up on that.
Thank you, I appreciate it. And then the second one is actually kind of Erica, but, Helen too. Has anyone noticed our crosswalks at 3rd and Welker?
Yes, I was gonna bring that up too.
They're flaking off and disappearing.
They're
They look like
already.
they've been there for years. And I'm like, wait, hold on.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
No, that's on my list too. I'm like, wait, did we get a warranty
My
on these things?
husband's like, didn't they just put those in? And he's like, they must not have cleaned it off and they put it on dirt because it literally, it's like, they just washed away.
Yeah,
I mean, they're,
Yeah.
especially on 3rd Street, they're almost gone.
Yeah.
Like it was just one of those things where you drove over and went, wait a minute, where did our crosswalks go?
I will check on that as well. Yeah, typically it's an application problem if it doesn't adhere, so that can certainly follow up.
We were so excited to have them, but yeah, it was like, never mind, those were just temporary tattoos.
Yeah, exactly.
And this one is maybe more of a pipe dream, but because the 3rd and Welker intersection is more delayed than we had hoped, now that we have the federal and everything to go through, I am concerned with the Xfinity site putting up construction fencing and kids, and the copious amount of kids and families walking to and from Ziggy's. Is there any way, I walked it the other day, that we can just kind of clear just the very edge, let's see, that would be the, thank you, south side, no, more,
The north side.
it would be the east side of 3rd from where, the sidewalk ends, so it goes over the railroad tracks and everything. I know there's not a whole lot we can do, but goes by Xfinity, so it's just concrete there, but even if we just, there's an area where a bunch of tires have come off, and so it's kind of a big old pothole, but I was thinking, even if we could just kind of put down some crusher fines or something to kind of delineate that, yes, there's this little almost foot trail there to keep people out of the street, since we have no shoulder there or anything. They're definitely, I know there's easements and everything, and it's not as easy as just going, oh yeah, let's make a trail here, but I see so many kids walking it, and they're mostly in the street because it's a small town and they don't think that there's much traffic, but I'm just concerned that it, we're not, it was going to be addressed with 3rd and Welker, but now that that's more delayed, is there anything we can do to maybe show that, yes, there's a little bit of a footpath here, and please don't walk in the street?
We'll take a look at it.
Okay.
I have to say, you're talking to somebody who is, my personal goal is to get throughput for bikes and walkers and people who are impaired from, I'd like to go from county line to county line. And this intersection project is going to create a huge opportunity. What you're asking though could put us in harm's way if we create a temporary solution that lures people into it and it's less safe. So we can look at some share the road signs, we can look at something, but if we put anything and say, here, use this when you're right literally on the traveling edge.
That makes sense.
I'll talk to Erica about it and we'll look at it more closely. Once we get the stripes back on, we'll be in a better position. I know exactly what you're saying, that
Now-
is challenging with or without construction fencing.
Oh,
It's
sure.
very difficult.
I know once this fencing goes up on the
Yeah.
west side, that now all traffic, foot traffic, if anybody is heading, south, will head that way. And it just concerns, but you know what, that completely makes sense that there's liability there, so.
Well, you don't wanna lure people into
Yeah.
an unsafe situation, but the best way is the way that people will never go, but you sign it so that they go up
Oh, no,
this street and then they
there's some
go.
kids that they're told that they're not allowed to drive on the road, so I see them do that. They go in through town and around, so they're always on the sidewalk, but, you know, there's a large amount that just walk the roads and, but I pretty much knew there probably wasn't anything we could do, but maybe some signs or something.
Yeah, we'll take a look at it though.
Thank you, that's all.
Thank you. Marty?
To tag on to that, just an idea. But I've seen other towns and communities who have this situation, and I'm not sure I really understand where you're talking about, maybe I have a general area, but they'll put in a boardwalk to act as a sidewalk, so it's a temporary with a rail on it, so it's actually goes from point A to point B, made out of plywood and 2x4s, but it's just a boardwalk with a safety rail, so people can use that as a temporary thing. I don't know if that's a doable thing. It seems like
Like I said, let us look at any solutions. I would be, we have a very narrow right of way there. And we don't wanna create a situation that makes it
No.
less safe. But we'll take one.
Okay.
Anything else, Marty?
Yeah, I have
Okay, go.
another question of staff. Can you give me, or is there an update on Turion?
Well, we are reviewing their metro district at the moment. They're working with staff on the PUD. I'm meeting with, they're the main developer, and Erica and I are all meeting with CDOT a week from Friday to talk about the interchange and what steps need to be taken. As you know, they will be the lead on that because it most benefits their development. But other than that, the plan is still as we talked about
No
last.
changes have been made.
There's no movement forward to suddenly jump back over to Berthoud. Berthoud is undergoing a, model service plan for metro districts. According to, my sources, it could take anywhere from 3 to 6 months, as did ours. I mean, if they do a thorough job. So, Turion has told me their position is they're going to remain neutral and just let them work through.
Okay. Thank you. That's all.
Erica. Whichever developer is west of Mulligan Lake. Rangeview, thank you. They tore up that field to the east side of County Road 7, and I realize a lot of that is a farmer's field and that they're, reseeding and doing their thing, but up where by the lake, they just got this giant pile of dead trees and they haven't reseeded it, and it seems like they're digging a new hole there every 2 weeks to fix something. Like, are they gonna make that look better at some point in time? Because right now it looks like crap. Like, they should have to reseed that, get rid of all those trees, get rid of the equipment that's been sitting there off and on for however long. Like, what is the deal with that
So it's
area?
across the street from Range.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, on the east side.
So the answer is yes. However, we've had many issues dealing with the developer and their contractor in expeditiously getting the part that's supposed to be the subdivision done. So, and I'm not trying to minimize the offsite, and as you know, or may not know, that developer owns that entire piece of property as well. They own both sides, but they aren't developing the side that you're talking about. That's where they ran the sewer. And I know the pile of trees, there's also another pile of trees on the west side, on the Rangewood property. We will reach out to them again. There's some other things they have to get done, like for example, mowing on County Road 7, we can't do because when they put that big hole there, they pulled boulders out and they're sitting in that ditch. So we can't run our mowers on top of that. But we will continue to beat the drum that they finish what they're supposed to do.
Okay. All right. Next, I know we didn't talk, I don't think that was in your report, but the occupancy tax that you guys are mulling over. I know we're talking about warehouses with that, but I wanted to know if we're looking at doing anything that includes like RV storage sites. Is that going to be included in that? Can it be included in that? Because we've got an awful lot of those around here, and just giant lots of parked vehicles. And while they're not a warehouse per se, they are storage. Is there a way for us to somehow just think, I mean, I know you guys are still in discussions about it, but can we figure out how to include RV and boat storage and all of that kind of stuff in that as well?
I mean, we're in the forming stage of this, so I see Marcus writing it down, and our consultant, if you will, this attorney, Jeff Wilson, knows the most about taxes in the state, we'll run it by him.
Yeah, cause it's just another place where we're not getting anything from it. I mean, they're, right, we don't get anything from those space rentals. So, and I wouldn't mind seeing those a little more limited too by possibly putting a little more on there if they're looking to do it. So, alright, I just wanted to ask about that. You mentioned we're having somebody work on a potential site plan for the police, that corner, Liberty Ranch corner.
Yeah.
I know we're talking about potentially police, Mountain View, and even maybe High Plains Library. So if we're putting this together and putting it out there and then we're gonna be footing the bill for this thing, are they gonna be contributing to that if they?
So the plan is to be paid for with municipal facilities fund, because it would ultimately be a town facility. Anything that got built or how the land got portioned would be up to you all. In other words, I don't anticipate this plan costing too much. I haven't seen the actual proposals because they're gonna pick the consultant first. But as far as the actual planning of the site, it's a town responsibility because it's a town-owned site.
Okay.
But if there is anybody uses it, for example, if we do move forward with the fire building, that all is gonna be a negotiation on who pays what. Because they would have to do substantial improvements, traffic improvements, utility improvements to get the site ready for their building. They're the first ones in.
So what exactly are we looking at planning then? What do we do? Cause I mean, if we don't really know if they're coming in or if High Plains is coming in or what exactly can we even be planning for?
Well, I guess I would turn it around. If we don't plan and we say, we're fine with you putting your facility on the site, it could be put on there anywhere that wouldn't benefit ultimately the development of the site. So this is just like a developer going in and saying, these are the uses that may or may not occur, so where best would we put them?
Okay, so you're kind of gonna be, in a way, subdividing it into potentially, okay, maybe a police station here, maybe a firehouse here, maybe the library here. But if ultimately, say the library doesn't end up going there, something else could go there?
Yeah, it's a bubble diagram. It's not subdividing, it's 32 acres of town-owned property. And it's looking at the way you would best lay out uses on the site. It could be that it comes down to the best use of it is to put some recreation use on it, whether it were a center or fields and just fire and police. But the idea is to look at it from a planning standpoint of how best to lay out the site.
Well, so I know that High Plains though wants to buy their land. They don't wanna lease it. That was one of the big issues they had with the park. So then you're talking about potentially selling part of that to somebody.
Perhaps. They don't wanna buy their land, they'd like it if it were given to them ideally. They would like to own the land, let's just say it that
They'd
way.
like to own the
Okay.
land,
How they
okay.
go about getting it is different, but that's a potential, that's what we'll look at. You know, would it be better for the town to own the entire site and have these things lease it for 100 years? Or could they be individually parceled off? And so these are all decisions that the board can make. We're just trying to bring something, a menu to you, so you have something to look at.
Okay. Alright, I guess I'll wait for that.
Is that,
Down the road then. Okay, one other thing, website. Wait.
Lorelai's on.
You're like, dang it, I just realized. So I went on the website today because I was trying to put in, trying to do a thing to submit for the garage sale. I went onto our website and I typed in the search garage sale. The most recent thing that came up was from 2018's garage sale. I'm like, are you kidding me? Scroll back, everything was older. That was the most recent thing, was 2018. So I thought, okay, I'll go to the calendar. So I go and I type in calendar, and it brings me to the board of trustees. I mean, it had this whole list of things, and not a single thing actually took me to a calendar of what I wanted to see. Like, it was really annoying for me to find the garage sale link. And so I don't know how you fix that though, because when somebody goes, I've actually gone and tried to type in manager's report. It doesn't take you anywhere useful. All the links that it shows you are completely useless links. Like, I don't know how to improve our search tab on there, but it sucks right now.
No, I when I put the link in my manager's report directly to the garage sale, because I had the same thing.
Yes.
I went in and typed it in, and I'm like, oh, I have to go through the recreation page. I'm not sure we'll be able to get to that, because the search engine doesn't work, like in a randomized way, but I'll talk to Lorelai about it.
All
But
right.
that's why I put the link in, because of that, exactly what happened here. I went in and typed garage sale, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's an old one, it's the wrong date. So then,
Yeah.
but I'll look at it. Remember, we patched together this website and got the best out of it we could, but we knew it didn't have the depth and the breadth that a more expensive website would.
Okay.
But I'll talk to you about it.
It's just something like, if we could just improve the search somehow, and I don't know how or if it can be, but it was just something I thought I'd bring up because it's a little frustrating. So, that's it. Yeah, Chris.
Two things. One is something that was just brought up, and it was something I thought about last week, but who pays the property taxes on the condos that are sold by the storage facility nearby?
Are you talking about Tom Eames's?
Yeah.
If property's transferred, to whom that property is transferred would pay the taxes. If they're kept, if they're condominiumized, which I think technically means that the land is still held by the owner of the original property, then he would pay it.
Okay, I was just curious, cause I thought maybe we're losing revenue on individual businesses that are inside that location.
Well, we wouldn't lose the revenue because either way, whoever paid it, we would ultimately get our mill levy.
Okay. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I was just curious who's actually making that. And to answer your question, and for anybody else who cares, Google has lots of options, and one of them is site. You can put SITE:, and then townofmead.org, and then your search, and it will find only in that website the contents.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So there you go.
Wow.
Well, why don't you handy to have around?
Well, that's my job. So, that was it.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Deb. Sorry, sometimes Hollywood Squares gets bounced around tonight. Hey, Deb Broadhead, do you have any, comments or questions for this part of the agenda?
No, I don't have any.
Okay, thank you. All right, so I just want to say, just a few things. Everyone, thanks for all the work that we put into the motorheads yesterday. It was really nice. The weather was just dynamic. So thank you to the staff and the people that actually came and had a great time. There was overabundance of cars and beautiful, beautiful things here. So it was a great day. Coffee with the Mayor is Saturday. Great cup of coffee by Mary Strupp. Come, come, come. And last of all, I think the 20th was a dreary day, just like today, that the chief, Mary, and I, and two of the community outreach people from Mountain View went over. We walked over to, drove over in the rain to the elementary school and talked about the rules of government with the third graders. And today I received letters from each one of them. So thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mary, for setting it up. Thank you, Chief, for your time. They really liked the police. It was all questions about it. How many people he arrests? And
A lot, actually.
And
They all have outstanding warrants.
yeah. So anyway, it was a great day. Mary, thank you for setting it up. It was wonderful. Usually they come here and we do like a mock elections and we get to be, you know, the mayor and the judge and the trustees, and we go through an election and we talk about the rules of government. But we got the opportunity to go over there in the brand new school that I haven't been in since we've been there the very first before, and all the stuff was in there. So the design, the inside is just beautiful, and the principal was with us, and all the third grade teachers and some volunteers came. So I just want to say thank you. It was a wonderful day, and it'll take me a while to get through these, but these are here if you want to take a look at them. So, is there anything that we need to discuss before we adjourn tonight and have cake?
And could I address the board? So as you all know, you are going to be, a whirlwind of community meetings, really starting with coffee with the mayor, and the following weekend is, the kickoff of the chamber. There are concerts, there are those meet, greet. Just so you know, there's gonna be a lot of things. I would ask, it would really help me if you could get some of your questions that you have or comments, like a disintegrating crosswalk particularly, things that are, I could have a little more time to prepare with staff. And the reason why I don't mind asking me stuff, because I'm glad that, I generally know, but I would like it if you could get them to me, because stuff may come up at these meetings and people ask, and it'd be helpful. You're on the ground here and you see things. If you could get those to me, and then I can get it out to staff and I can get answers for you. Because I think people are gonna come to those meet and greets or at concert in the park and ask you things. So it would just really help me if you let me know ahead of time.
Heads up? You want a heads up?
Or just don't be, either way. But it would be, for one thing, I wasn't aware of the crosswalks, and that's a safety thing. Plus, if we're gonna pay the bill, we might wanna hold up to.
I meant to email you and then I forgot, and I didn't
Yeah,
trigger, my
no
brain
worries.
didn't trigger till I saw you and I thought, oh, I have to say some stuff.
But if
Sorry
you
about
could,
that.
it would just be helpful.
All right. Thank you very much, Marcus, for driving all this way up here. We acknowledge you today, so thank you very much for coming here and giving us all of our legislative updates.
Pleasure to be here. The good news is, I think the Avalanche are winning.
Okay. But thank you very much for coming.
on the TV in the background. He came for cake.
Thank you, staff, for being here, all the work that you guys do. Thank you so much, and thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Thank you for being in the town of Mead. I appreciate your efforts and all the work that we've done together. Jennifer, Deb, and the others who are on with us Zoom, thank you very much for your time tonight. If you have any other questions that are residents or citizens, please email our town manager and she'll get back with you. So with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
One, two.
Trustee Dedhead.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Adams.
Yes.
Trustee Bradhead.
Yes.
Trustee Cartwright.
Yes.
Trustee Trans.
Yes.
Trustee Harris.
Yes.
Mayor Whitlow. Yes. Thank you. The May 31st, 2022 regular board meeting of the Board of Trustees now adjourned at 7:14. Thank you, everyone. Please